Hello friends, welcome to yet another session on essay perspectives. So the topic for today is a little bit lengthy, but nonetheless it is intentionally chosen. The topic is literacy is a vital skill that enhances dignity, improves health outcomes, empowers people to access their rights and bolsters opportunities. As always friends, before I begin I have a personal appeal to all of you. My book on ethics, integrity and aptitude has been pirated, and unfortunately pirated book is of low print quality. So I urge all the aspirants to buy the original copies. Original copies can be bought from the seller affordable on Amazon, from the seller Arvind Books on Flipkart. Thank you. Okay friends, before we begin, we need to conceptualize essay as being made of various components. So with regard to this essay would start with introduction, followed by the concept and explanation regarding literacy. Then the other aspects that are given in the topic, like access to rights, then health outcomes, dignity, opportunities. Then finally we have to explain the relationship between literacy and all the other aspects. Then the heart of our essay is analyzing whether the literacy is alone sufficient to achieve this. So the next component is what helps all these aspects if not literacy. Then we need to conclude. Friends, I feel the best way to start this essay is through a fictitious character called Kisan ji. So Kisan ji of 1970s. So Kisan ji is basically a poor tenant farmer. So in 1970s, where he wanted to buy some agricultural inputs to grow in his field. Then obviously he did not have money, nor had he had the ability to approach any bank, nor was any bank willing to give him any loan. So the only resort left for him was to go and borrow money from the local landlord, zamindar or money lender, whatever you call him. So of course, and that money need not be just for agricultural inputs, it may be for some personal obligations or domestic obligations like daughter's marriage or whatever. So then he needed money, he had to approach a money lender, he had no other go. He went to the money lender, and their money lender gives him the loan at exorbitant rates of interest, and our Kisan ji, being illiterate, has no ability to understand how the interest is calculated, and he blindly puts his thumb impression on all the papers that are given by the money lender. Okay, then he takes the debt and then he keeps on repaying it. So much so that even after repaying his principal as well as reasonable interest, still he is not discharged of the debt. At the end of the day, one fine day, Zamindar would say that he has not been able to repay, and he would forfeit or appropriate the entire land of Kisanji. Correct. Thus, why did this happen? Then point number one, Kisanji was not in a position to understand what was interest rate. He was not able to calculate interest rate. Second, he doesn't know what he signed for. He doesn't know whether that paper on which he put his thumb impression meant the total sale of or transfer of land from Kisanji to the money lender, or what are the conditions in that paper. He doesn't even know. So the zamindar or money lender could write conditions to his advantage and could easily cheat or deceive Kisanji. Correct? Why? What is one basic skill that actually, the lack of one basic skill that actually pushed this Kisanji into this debt trap? Point number one, Kisanji was an illiterate. He could not calculate rates of interest. He could not understand numbers. Second, he could not read whatever was written on that piece of paper. Without reading and understanding, he just put his thumb impression. Okay, this is Kisanji of 1970s. Thus, the lack of literacy skill pushed Kisanji into troubles. Correct. Now let us try to let us say the Kisanji's grandson or great grandson is in 2020. Okay, Now this at least his great grandson knows how to read and write. He writes, reads and understands things. But is the life of Kisanji's great grandson in 2020 any better? Here Kisanji is just representative of all farmers in the country. Okay, even today farmers are suffering because of vagaries of nature, because of vagaries of market forces, because of vagaries of lack of institutions to support them, or whatever, exploitation of middlemen. I mean, you can go on adding. Thus, though the Kisanji's great grandson is able to acquire the literacy skill which his grandfather or great grandfather lacked, yet his life is not better. Okay, thus, I mean, by giving these two examples, by giving these two in two different paragraphs, you can very well write stating that then thus, though from the illustration of Kisanji it appeared that literacy was everything, but however from the illustration of great grandson of Kisanji it appeared that there is something beyond literacy that is needed. This essay seeks to explore this finer aspect. Something like that you can write and you can start the essay. Then you need to elaborate on the concept of literacy. So friends, we know what is literacy. Literacy in the simplest of terms mean ability to read and write with understanding. A person should be able to read, a person should be able to write. At the same time, a person should be able to understand whatever he is reading. A person should be able to understand whatever he is writing. Then the person, he or she, is regarded to be literate. So this is the basic definition of literacy. Now, you need not have to just you have to elaborate on that. You can give one example or whatever. So read, write with understanding. Then you, in another paragraph, you need to say why literacy is important. Because point number 1, literacy helps one person to communicate with others easily. A person can write letters, a person can send SMS, a person can send WhatsApp, whatever. This communication can get established only because this person can write whatever he wants and this person can read whatever he receives. Correct? Thus, literacy is an extremely important tool for communication. Then comes literacy is the key to world knowledge. The entire world knowledge is now stored or preserved in the form of literature. Correct? That literature can be accessed, that literature can be understood only if a person is literate. Agreed? So let us say a newspaper publishes every week a separate page dedicated to farmers. Okay, let us say some agricultural scientist every day writes a column in a newspaper guiding the farmers about the best agricultural practices that are more remunerative than the conventional ones. Okay, if the farmer is able to read that that column, only if the farmer is able to understand whatever is written by the agricultural scientist, then only farmer can improve his can adapt those agricultural practices and improve productivity, improve incomes, improve his living standards. Isn't it? So thus it is a key to world knowledge, literacy. Correct? You can apply to anybody for that matter. Need not be a farmer. I am just saying farmers because it is presumed that it is because that it is that class that got badly hit by lack of literacy. Okay. And then you have to also see, thus one paragraph you explain the concept of literacy. Next paragraph you explain as to how literacy helps in communication. Then you would explain as to how literacy helps one access the world knowledge. Then the next para you should talk about how literacy is different from education. It is important. Okay. Education is different from literacy. Literacy is just the ability to read and write with understanding. That's it. But what is education? Education is the ability to utilize the knowledge acquired through literacy for meaningful outcomes. Got it? Literacy, a person can just read and understand using literacy. Okay, let us refer back to the same old example where an agricultural scientist is writing a column in the newspaper about the best farming practices. A literate would be able to just read that and understand it minimally. But an educated is a person who has the ability to assimilate that information, customize it to suit his needs, and utilize the same information for meaningful outcomes, which is productivity or increased incomes in this case. Thus, education is beyond reading, writing with understanding. It is the reading, writing with understanding helps one acquire knowledge, correct? But once that knowledge is acquired, the ability to use that knowledge, the ability, the skill set used to use that knowledge for meaningful outcomes is what education all about. Correct? A person, let us say an MBA graduate. An MBA graduate has understood the concept of various marketing strategies. Okay, he's understood. Fine. He is a literate actually. But if he really has the ability to apply those concepts in the real life and to create some meaningful outcomes, then he is educated. That is the fine line of difference between literacy and education that you need to stress. It's very important. That is why we always say we have literates but we don't have educateds. Correct? Okay. Literacy is different from education. It is important to emphasize the same. Then this topic, friends, actually before I discuss on this slide, I want to tell you as to why this topic has been chosen. See, it appears that this is a very long topic, very elaborate. I mean, the topic itself is long. Then, but friends, there is one advantage associated with such long topics. See, the thing is, the topic itself gives you components. The topic itself gives you various dimensions in which you need to elaborate the essay. See, the topic talks about the moment you read the topic, you are aware that, okay, I should speak about literacy, I should speak about dignity, I should speak about health outcomes, I should speak about opportunities, I should speak about rights. Correct? The topic itself is so wide, you can, even elaborating on these 5 aspects, you can very well write some 3-4 pages, some 30-40% of essay will be on just elaboration. Let us say, as against this topic, let us say the topic would have been literacy is a vital skill that enhances, that accentuates success, or the literacy is a vital skill for success. Let us say this is the topic, which is very abstract, which is very short. Then you need to start, giving meaning to the success. You should define success, you should add various dimensions to the success, etc., etc. Actually, you need to generate points in such a way that they don't get carried far away from the topic given. But here everything is very specific, everything is crystal clear. I need to just explain on those things, link those things, then present a very beautiful essay. Thus, these kind of topics actually, according to me, are very easy to write. Without much brainstorming, you can write this essay. So, in any exam for that matter, whenever you get an essay of this type of long topics, don't just say that this topic itself is long, how can I write, let me not write. There are some aspirants who think like that also. This is so long topic, I cannot write, something like that. So all such negative thoughts run in some people's mind. But it is, according to me, these are the topics that you need to choose because it's very easy to write. Second thing is, also friends, in these kind of topics, it is important for you to touch upon every aspect given. Don't just try to say that for everything, you don't try to generally say that literacy helps a person in health outcomes, in bolstering opportunities, in access to rights and in dignity, etc., etc. Don't try to generally write anything. Every aspect needs to be addressed specifically. So there should be targeted analysis to every aspect given. Then you will be able to receive very good marks. Okay, then that aside, let's come to this. So literacy we have explained. Now we need to discuss about other aspects that are given in the topic. So the first aspect is dignity. What is dignity, friends? Dignity means respect, honor. A person who commands respect, a person who commands honor is regarded to be a dignified individual. Basically, dignity is a sociological concept. Dignity is societal acceptance of a person. Whether society accepts a person or whether a society disrespects a person is what dignity all about. Societal acceptance, societal opprobrium. If a person is societal acceptance is dignity, so societal opprobrium is ignominy. Okay, so thus this is what dignity all about. If a person is respected, accepted, he is dignified. If a person is not accepted, not respected, then that person faces something called social opprobrium, which is nothing but societal disrespect or whatever. So you need to elaborate on the concept of dignity in say one para or so. Then comes health outcome. Second aspect is health outcomes. Friends, health outcomes is again a very abstract topic. You need to make it very concrete. Health outcome means whether a person lives healthily or not. What are the indicators that would say that a person lives healthily? Point number 1, longevity. Point number 2, IMR. Point number 3, MMR. Clear? So you need to actually concretize the abstract topic here. Okay? Because this is what I was telling you. If the topic is very abstract, you need to concretize it. So if the topic is concrete, it's very easy. You can directly straight away start hitting the bullseye. So here health outcomes is an abstract subconcept. So you need to first define what is health outcome. So many aspirants would just keep on writing health outcomes, etc. They would not get more marks. It is the aspirant who defines that health outcomes in concrete terms like longevity, IMR, MMR would end up getting good marks. Okay, done. Next comes right. What is basically right? Right is entitlement. Right is entitlement. What a person is entitled to. What is right to life? Right to life means right to dignified life. That a person is entitled to a dignified life. Right to free speech and expression. That a person is entitled to speak freely, to express his thoughts freely. That is what right all about. A person should have both awareness of rights and at the same time he should know how to get the rights enforced. Okay, so thus you need to explain the concept of rights also. Then the last one is opportunities. What are opportunities? Opportunities mean possibilities. Whether a person has the possibility to start a business, whether a person has the possibility to get into a job, whether a person has the possibility to study or to enroll himself in an educational course. So this is what opportunity is all about. Opportunities means possibilities. So what are lack of opportunities? That means lack of possibilities. So let us say a woman wants to study, but there is no educational institution in the vicinity. Correct? Then that is not an opportunity. Or let us say a person wants to or has the abilities to work in a particular organization, say government, but that person is debarred or that person is prohibited from that job. That means lack of opportunities. So lack of opportunities means lack of possibilities. So in apartheid Africa, where non-white races were denied of job opportunities. That means they are ready to work, they had the ability to work, but they were not considered for employment. That is lack of opportunities. Okay, I mean, to put to cut long discussion short, opportunities means possibilities. So here you need to explain the concept of dignity, health outcomes, right, opportunities in separate paragraphs. After explaining the concepts of literacy and then other aspects given in the topic, now it is the time for you to link the concept of literacy with dignity one by one. Friends, actually, you can forego the previous slide also. Then what you can do is you can just explain about literacy, then come to a paragraph where you explain dignity and link the dignity to literacy. Then you explain health outcomes and then link it with literacy. Then you explain opportunities, link it with literacy. Like that also you can write. It is up to you. But I thought, okay, let me add one more component. So initially we have to explain. Okay. Now, what is the relationship between dignity and literacy? We know dignity means respect. Societal acceptance, societal respect is what dignity stands for. Okay. Now, whether a literate person is respected and accepted by the society or not determines whether literacy is a vital skill that enhances dignity or not. Correct. So here, the link between relationship between literacy and dignity is not absolute, it is relative. It is relative to the time period. Okay, that means in the previous days, like say 1960s, 70s, 80s, where the literacy was not that much widespread, where the government was actually attempting to build the literacy skills of people by launching literacy missions and all. At that point of time, literacy itself provided dignity to the literates. Correct. That is why in olden days, even in villages, the postmans and teachers were regarded to be high class people, or they were respected by everyone because they knew how to read and write. A postman could read a letter, a postman could write a letter for you, a teacher knew alphabets, a teacher knew sentences, so they were respected. When in 1970s and 80s, where very few or no one in the village was able to read and write. Correct. But now in say in 2010, 2020, where almost everyone is literate. Of course, there may be some people, I don't deny, but in relation to 1970s, the number of literates has increased. Thus, the societal respect being accorded to people who just knew to read and write has come down drastically. Okay, this is what I call critical analysis. Okay, earlier people were respected for that literacy skill, but no longer so, because more people possess that skill is no longer a special skill. Okay. Next, it is relative to geographical area also. See, even today in some tribal areas where the literacy is not that widespread, there the person who knows to just read and write is accepted and is respected in the society. So, just to take the example, Europe and Africa, perhaps in Africa, even today in some places like Somalia, Sudan, or some the most backward places on this earth, perhaps even today, a person who knows to read and write is still respected and given dignity. But is it so in Europe? No, where everyone knows to read and write. Okay, so it is relative to time period. Second, it is relative to geographical area where a person lives. Next, but nonetheless, maybe we can very well say that though literates may not be accorded special status, though the literates may not be accorded special respect in today's Europe, but even then, but literacy is the starting point for dignity. That you cannot dispute, that you cannot disprove, that you cannot disagree with, because though a literate is not respected or is not given special respect, definitely an illiterate is disrespected. Correct? Thus it is like salt. It is like salt. Literacy is like salt, where the presence is not felt, but absence is definitely felt. Correct? Let us say everybody is literate, okay, you are not given any special respect. But let us say everyone is literate, but you are only illiterate, then everybody will scorn at you, will scoff at you. There is social opprobrium. So thus, with regard to dignity, I can very well say that though literacy cannot assure you dignity in the present world, as it was doing in say some 3-4 decades ago, but absence of literacy or lack of literacy is definitely ignominy. Correct? Hope I have made my point very clear. Presence of literacy may not increase your dignity, but absence of literacy will definitely reduce your dignity. Next, friends, health outcomes. I have already told you health outcomes means longevity, that is life expectancy, IMR and MMR, okay, for the sake of our understanding and for the sake of convenience. And friends, actually, now health outcomes, how do you achieve these health outcomes? There are two ways, right? One is preventive healthcare and second one is curative healthcare. So, why is literally essential for ensuring preventive healthcare? Because the first thing, friends, in the literacy will enable a person to understand public health messages. Correct? Today, what does preventive healthcare entail? Preventive healthcare entails that a person should follow healthy habits. A person should keep his surroundings clean. A person should drink clean water. A person should follow proper lifestyles, etc., etc. Correct? Only these things will ensure, will constitute preventive healthcare. Thus, these messages are constantly bombarded on population by government. Correct? This is what even today in the during COVID pandemic. So, what is that public health message which government is trying very hard to push? One is stay home. Second one is wear mask, follow social distance. Correct? Hand wash frequently. So all such messages we know, even in even in the past the government used to reel a lot of messages. Keep your surroundings clean, only use toilet, don't defecate in open, boil the water before you drink. Correct? Bathe daily. So many such things. So only when a person is literate, he can understand all these public health messages. These public health messages are mostly circulated through pamphlets, circulated through newspapers, circulated through wall writings, circulated through posters, etc., etc., right? Thus, absence of literacy will keep a person ignorant of all these best health practices, and thus his health outcomes will come down. Next one is curative healthcare. So, what is curative healthcare? That means you take steps after you get a disease for the cure of disease. Here, a person, only if he is able to read prescriptions, only if a person is able to sign declarations at hospitals and understand the treatment protocol, and only if a person is able to write an application, then he can access to maybe health schemes like Ayushman Bharat, Janani Suraksha Yojana, etc., etc., etc. So, and also I'll give you one more very good example, interesting example with regard to curative healthcare, how literacy is important for curative healthcare. See friends, in most of the parts of the world where malaria is an endemic disease, there the treatment regimen expects a person to constantly take or continuously take a few tablets once he or she is diagnosed with malaria. If those tablets are not taken, he or she may succumb to death. Correct? But what used to happen in earlier days, even today in some remote pockets, problem that the poor persons who are not literate, they don't understand which tablet to take or for what purpose. Then what is done? Then actually the color coding of those tablets has come, where they will say You take green tablet in the morning, red tablet in the evening, or yellow tablet in the afternoon, something like that. Correct? So thus, if a person is able to understand the prescription, then he will take the tablets properly. If he is not able to read what is written on the sachet of tablet, then he will fail miserably, right? Then he cannot follow the treatment regimen, and finally the curative health outcomes do not get realized. So there we had to go for color coding. So this is a simple example. Why? How literacy helps a person to improve his health outcomes. Okay. Then again, actually the third point I want to stress again, applying for government schemes. Friends, today governments under the health for all schemes is providing lot of treatment free to the patients, even in corporate and private hospitals. Correct? But only a literate person is able to understand how to apply for that permission, how to apply for that scheme. Then only he can become a beneficiary of that scheme, right? So thus it is literacy that definitely helps a person in both preventive healthcare as well as curative healthcare. Now friends, let us say the relationship of literacy with rights. Okay friends, when can one access rights? A person can access rights only when he is aware of those rights. When will a person become aware of those rights? A person becomes aware of those rights only through reading newspapers, reading speeches, reading pamphlets, etc., etc., right? Thus, for reading, is literacy not an essential skill? It is a vital skill. So the first step in the access of rights is awareness of those rights, which is realized through reading, which is made possible by the skill of literacy. Second thing is enforcement. Is awareness enough? No, right? You have to get that right enforced. How do you get that right enforced? You have to, if you feel that your right is violated, you have to give representation to the concerned authority for the enforcement of that right. Even if that authority doesn't take any action, then you have to go and file case in the court of law. Correct? Here, writing these petitions, filing court cases, etc., etc., do you not think literacy is essential? It is a non-negotiable skill for writing representations and filing court cases. So let us say, to illustrate, let us say I know that let us say I live in a urban area. I get water from urban local body every day. So then suddenly every day I am getting the water is stinking. It has some foul smell. So then that means urban local body is giving me some unclean water. So initially I may be quiet, but later suddenly I read in a newspaper where the Honorable CM has directed all the officials to ensure clean water, since that is a basic right. Somehow then I get to know that is my basic right. So that awareness I have got only through reading that newspaper. Once I get that awareness, then what is the next thing that I do? I write a representation and go and approach the commissioner of that urban local body. I will go and ask him, boss, I am entitled to clean water. I have right to clean water, but what is this? I am not getting clean water. You please give me clean water. So writing and giving written representation. Let us say that commissioner has not taken any action. Then the next thing that you do is you approach a court of law for enforcing that right. Correct? So for all these things, literacy is an essential skill. Thus, there is no doubt that you need literacy for accessing rights. The next thing is opportunities, bolstering opportunities. Again, I told you friends, opportunities is a very abstract concept. I want to concretize it. I would say opportunities means employment opportunities and entrepreneurial opportunities. Let us first say employment opportunities. Friends, is literacy essential for employment opportunities? Not always. Because there are blue collar employment where you work, you put your physical energy to do some work. Maybe you work as a daily wage laborer in some agriculture field. Maybe you work as a loader into a truck. Maybe you work as a I mean, say you work in a you work as an electrician or whatever. For so many skills, for blue collar skills, mostly literacy, you can do lot of works even without literacy, correct? Then for white collar job, literacy is an essential skill. Then that means there are so many employments based on other skills. Driving, though we can very well argue that for driving also you should be able to read traffic signs and all, but still. So there are other skills also. Then you can work as a driver, you can work as a plumber, you can work as an actor. I mean, so many things. Okay, for so many things there are so many employment opportunities that are not based on literacy. Let us accept that fact. Thus, mere employment opportunities, thus literacy may not be an essential skill for all the employment opportunities. Okay, for white collar, yes, it is an essential skill. Now let us come to entrepreneurial opportunities. Here, friends, who is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is a person who creates something, sells something, makes money, in the simplest of the terms. So here an entrepreneur has to do business accounting, he has to do marketing, he has to do manage the stakeholders like customers, suppliers, employees, etc., and he has to also do some statutory filings like IT filing, income tax returns, GST returns, company returns. Lot of things are there, right? He has to take a license, etc. Thus, though you can get employed based on skills other than literacy, but for being an entrepreneur, literacy is a must. This is what I call critical analysis. I don't blindly say literacy is very essential for employment for bolstering opportunities. I would say literacy is essential for white collar employment opportunities and other entrepreneurial opportunities. However, even in the absence of literacy, you can do some other employment, correct? Okay, friends, after we have discussed the relationship of literacy with all other aspects, now we are at a very critical part of the essay, which is analysis. So, I mean, if you just say that literacy would help on all these things, your essay is a unidimensional essay, will not fetch you much marks. You have to critically analyze that. How do you critically analyze that? Now you will have to also argue that it is not just literacy, there are other aspects that are also essential for a person to become successful. Correct? So, what are such things? The first one is basic aptitude. What is basic aptitude? It is common sense. It's innate ability to understand things around you. Next is communication skills. The modern society, modern business, modern opportunities, everything is based on a person's association with others. No person can do anything all alone. If you want to do something, you have to take the help of others. How do you take the help of others? It is only through communication, right? You have to communicate your ideas to others, you have to understand ideas of others, then you have to work together as a team. The next one is life skills. What are life skills? Life skills are those skills which are essential for a person to lead a smooth life, like driving, like cooking, like keeping one's house clean. All these skills. Basically, a person should be able to live his life on his own without depending on others. So, such life skills also are very much essential for a person to become successful. Okay. Next comes human relationship skills. So, by human relationship skills, I mean ability to work in a team, ability to convince others, ability to get work done from others, ability to motivate a person, ability to threaten a person at times. All these skills are human relation skills. So, now given that we are always working in teams, if you don't have these human relation skills, then you fail miserably. Correct? So, thus, after such elaborate explanation, you can very well say that, see, thus, though literacy alone is not enough for a person to live a dignified life, to improve health outcomes, to access rights, to bolster opportunities, but it is an essential one. It is the starting thing. Correct? Without literacy, you are zero. But with literacy, you are something. But literacy coupled with all the skills that I told you, explained to you just now, you are everything. Correct? Without literacy, you are nothing. With literacy, you are something. Literacy with communication skills, life skills, basic aptitude, and human relation skills, you are everything. Okay? Thus, you can conclude stating that literacy is the foundation on which successful life can be built using the bricks of basic aptitude, communication skills, human relation skills, and life skills. Friends, hope I have made it very clear. It's a very simple essay. You need not have to think much also, because all the concepts are given in the topic itself. Brainstorming becomes very easier in such kind of topics, but the trick, the USP, the hitch lies in how you make this essay analytical. Correct? Okay friends, happy reading. So we'll meet with another topic in the next week. Thank you.